It's good to have you back for Game 3 as we jump into our next match, which is Chronologic Gaming versus TSM. And we've got another chapter in this age-old matchup, which always means a lot to the rival fans, and TSM fans may need it now coming off their Team Liquid loss yesterday.
I mean, absolutely, because TSM, things had been looking up for them, but then they got smashed by a double liftless Team Liquid yesterday. And every week this year, TSM has either gone 0-2 or 2-0.
Who would have thought?
So they've already started 0-1, and now they're playing CLG. And beyond that, there is some interesting stuff with TSM in terms of how they play around objectives early in general. They do have good gold control, like gold lead stats at 10 or 15, but a general low Drake priority, because generally, unlike a lot of the other teams like Cloud9, who you look at just stacks up Drakes until they get Dragon Soul really early as their win condition.
And save mid.
Yeah, TSM is trading Drake control for gold on the map and then trying to win from there. That was true in most of their games this year. Funnily enough, not yesterday versus Team Liquid when they picked more of a scaling comp and actually took early Drakes, which then didn't work. So I'm expecting them to kind of double down on not controlling Dragon early and instead trying to get top lane turret plates through Broken Blade or pressure elsewhere on the map.
And now that's for TSM. For Chronologic Gaming fans, be they in 10th place or first, always want to step up for a TSM game. And Pobelter hopes he can infuse the team with the pep needed to take that team down.
I think the only way out of this kind of thing is to go forward, pretty much. So as hard as it is, you kind of just have to keep believing in yourself. Well, first of all, you have to own up to the fact, like, well, Jesus, we're like 1 in whatever, right? We're last place. It sucks, guys. But you just have to own up to it. You have to stay positive, and you have to believe in yourself. You got to trust your teammates. It's starting to sound like a motivational speech. Believe in yourself. But really, like, all the players have achieved good things before. Last year, they were second in the split. And, you know, I don't know what happened to CLG in playoffs, but, you know, they were a fine team, right? And all the players are capable of playing well. I think just gotta win. Just gotta win.
So far, I think CLG has looked better with Pobelter. It's just when you look at what they've had to play at the start of the second round robin, they played the 3 best teams, right? Like they played Cloud9, FlyQuest, and now TSM. But even with that, you can see like their numbers, CLG in week 4 versus CLG in week 5, neither of them were great.
Yeah.
But I think by the eye test, CLG did look better with Pobelter in. Funnily enough, the last time CLG Pobelter played against TSM was the 2015 Summer Finals, when they actually 3-0'd them.
Viktor. So are we going to see some Viktor coming in here? I remember that very, very well. We'll see what they have for each other. That's actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that they had Cloud9 and FlyQuest. TSM now. Then they go up against Immortals and Liquid. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. They definitely, especially with Liquid on the uprise now. Now would be a time to start finding a few victories on the back half of the split. A lot of believing in each other for the CLG squad. Weldon and Song behind them now as we get into picks and bans for Chronologic Gaming at TSM.
Yep, no Senna ban yet. That has been 100% pick ban through week 6 of the LCS, like just in this week, not throughout the whole split.
Big clumps, okay.
Yeah, so no set blind pick, no Yuumi this game. Leaves a lot of options open for this first pick by CLG. They can kind of dictate the type of game they want to play. This would not be the blind pick to do. Okay, so they're kind of signaling Senna TK with that pick.
So would you ever take away the Senna without? I mean, we just saw it with Nautilus, but...
I think you can.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Don't even answer that.
Yeah, and now it's CLG is going to be like, okay, Varus TK. Because Tahm Kench does work with some other good low mobility AD carries. And it is a bit of a denial on the optimal Senna lane. The Manor Maokai hover. Bjergsen played Maokai mid yesterday, did not go well for TSM.
Getting in his head. Can you break Beer King?
I think Maokai can come back with Sunfire buffs for sure, actually.
Sunfire feels great now.
Cases. Oh yeah, it's really
Love
good.
it.
I actually think it's the best first item rush on top lane set.
Ornn.
Interestingly, like everyone will do like they're having this Black Cleaver in Trinity Force like debate. I'm like, why not just do full tank set? He does enough damage with W anyway.
It is gross. Yeah, you displace them, so you practice. You'll be able to move them around, get that 5% health damage.
They kept that Maokai hover for so long. I'm like, are they going to do it?
Planting the seed, but they do not. Rumble gets locked in on the side of CLG. Pobelter going back to spitting flames on this one. He should feel pretty comfortable in the mid lane position on that.
It's interesting how when we see Rumble now, we're like, it's probably mid. It can obviously still go top lane, depending on matchup, so it still maintains that flexibility, but we've seen a lot of it mid. And this actually isn't going to be the melee farm share lane. It's just going to be Senna support, Ezreal AD carry. Since they are up against a Tahm Kench, who's really good at into other melees, they think, hey, let's just outpoke him. I actually don't mind it.
All right.
Yeah. Pretty neat. It means Biofrost will be playing the center rather than having a traditional AD carry playing it. In terms of like teamfight positioning, gets a little bit different. And you don't have peel, but for now, CLG doesn't have great dive, so it's okay to not have a bunch of peel.
A lot of long-range damage so far. They do get a catch out. There's a bit of follow-up there with some poke, but who can finalize that damage for a CLG squad? Looking at TSM, they're definitely going to be getting in with the Jarvan ultimate. Safety behind that from True Shot, Barrage's Mystic Shots, and some healing. Final ban, what do they think that CLG would prioritize here as their next pick?
Yeah. I think it's really smart that CLG banned Syndra. Bjergsen's been 4-0 on it, so 66% of TSM's wins have come with Syndra.
Definitely a big play there. He loves the Syndra. Syndra LeBlanc thinks he can keep it kind of controlling the game on, if you will, by himself. And a final ban here for CLG. 14 seconds left. Pobelters, these guys are just hamming it up. Love to know what they're saying. It's always, when we did check-ins before, they'd be like, oh, they're hamming it up, let's listen. And they're like, super quiet. Don't say anything. You go off again, they're talking. It's always the way it is. So it is going to be a LeBlanc ban on the other side. Kaisa could be locked in here.
Yeah, just trying to keep the most lane-dominant things out of Bjergsen's hands.
Another manner.
That would be very interesting. Likely a manner. Zoe's the safer blind pick with the current bans, and it also gives them a pretty signaled poke comp, which tells CLG, like, hey, either bring some good sustain or some really good hard engage, which might be tricky to put in now, right? Like, the Sejuani is banned, the Jarvan is gone, Gragas seems like you would need it in the jungle, and then you'll need something in top lane that can help dive with it, so you'd want to say like Gragas Aatrox, but Aatrox is banned. Rek'Sai's not that good at diving. I think he just gets poked out. We'll see though. It tells me they might have an AP choice left and they don't want their damage to get too one-dimensional.
Pretty Mord to the top?
Could be.
Could be an interesting synergy with
Blind
the composition,
lane,
honestly.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Rumble top, Viktor mid.
All right.
And they didn't want Gragas because then they'd have triple AP. But it does make their initiation not great. Mord would work against top lane Rumble if he just wants to do that. But Broken Blade's had some really nice counter picks. Yeah, it's just Mord.
Definitely feeling better about TSM's comp overall. The execution on that side of CLG is going to be tough, but if they can get it down, there's a lot of power actually to come through those champions. So we'll see how they play the early game or if TSM can get under their skin. We're going to be watching Dardoch in the jungle versus Wiggily's Rek'Sai here.
Dardoch, I think, has had a very good year so far on TSM. The game against Team Liquid yesterday is going to be something that'll become more clear in retrospect about what actually happened, because Liquid has been such an up and down team and TSM has been such an up and down team, but like if Liquid actually just did improve a whole bunch and is now good again in week 6, you're thinking, oh, okay, TSM lost to Liquid rather than, oh, they lost to Liquid.
Right.
There's a big difference there, and TSM will want to bounce back in a big way right here against CLG if they want to be considered in that top team conversation.
Looks like I have that idea of how they want to do it with those comps locked in. A 6-5 TSM up against the 1-9 CLG as we are in the back half of the split. Now there are your compositions on the screen, and I'm liking this Rumble back towards the top side. Like we said, we were seeing it mid, but it's like Booney hasn't played Rumble in a long time. A few other people haven't played Rumble in a long time. It's a game-changing pick And once we do see him get through, it's fun to watch. Pobelter on to CLG now for the past few games. We'll see if he can right ship for the team and start to show more, as we saw before, of that control, of the team feeling a bit more organized as we see them move throughout the Rift. We're about to be onto the Rift, and here it is. Chronologic Gaming versus TSM.
It has been... Ta-da!
Slightly conflicting, Shears.
Yeah.
A little more TSM there.
I mean, it's been an off year for both teams so far. More of an off year for CLG, who was the 3rd place team in Summer Split. We got a party in the top lane, though.
Ooh, quickly could be ruined.
Okay.
Flash Arenio starting things off. So that's an easy one to time. 5.5 minutes Flash.
Uh-huh.
Don't have to worry about that one. We could see a flag and drag from Dardoch top. Rumble's not the hardest thing to gank, but can be slippery with his scrap shield.
Yeah, Rumble wants to try and shove in early, though, and when you're flashless, it gets real scary unless you have jungle help being drawn up there. This win would mean so much for CLG. I mean, it's been a rather miserable split so far for CLG, going 1-9 with such high hopes and aspirations after last split. Bringing back in Pobelter, knowing that the first week was against the top 2 teams in the LCS, not expecting much, trying to get some win here. And another delayed invade. Pobelter very easily kind of walks it off.
Wow.
Huh.
We see this quite a bit. Teams just immediately trying to figure out a way they can get a flash, get something that makes CLG play a little bit more off in the early game than they would usually have to. And here it's just going to be with that flash top, so we'll see how the other lanes take to that if there is some pressure to it.
This one will be a little bit interesting, though, but because of the invade, we're probably going to see basically what's called vertical jungling. So Rek'Sai gets to do these camps and then probably go in for the red. Likewise, Dardoch is going to do these camps and then swing back to his blue. The reason this is interesting is because with Ruin's flash being down, you would think that TSM wouldn't want this vertical split because they'd want to stop Ruin from pushing. The fact that Ruin is flashless, but knows his jungler is on his side and Dardoch is not, means Ruin not having flash actually doesn't matter. Which, that's why I'm a little curious as to why...
As opposed to Dardoch going blue to red to top.
I think this is more of a pregame plan where they're saying, we have this Senna Ezreal lane that is really good at poking early, but vulnerable to ganks. So they say, rather than trying to punish this flashless Rumble, let's just protect this incredibly potent poke lane and try and win bot as much as possible. That's the logic that I see why TSM would do.
It seems like a sound idea if this is already what you had in mind, not to completely jump ship and be like, oh, flash top, let's go after that instantly.
Yeah, stick to the plan.
Stick to the plan. See if they'll keep it safe on bot side. Dardoch now over onto his blue, but it actually looks like Wiggily coming over here as well. So he's going to try to get more priority on the bot side, so like you were saying.
This gank has to work because he's given up so much of his farm.
Pushed off already, doesn't even go for the attempt on it, thinking that he'd take too much on the way in from the long range. And now, yeah, Dardoch, he can just go topside now.
Yep, look at all this stuff that Wiggily was going to be able to get for free. He now no longer gets for free, and he can't even go in to get this blue buff. So, that's too bad.
Cleaning up Scuttle on bottom side, maybe a head towards top. No, top was just taken by Ruin, so it doesn't hurt. Helps the team, but still things need to be cleaned up as they're kind of organizing around the movement that is not working out early game just yet. Pobelter plays it safe as he goes back and forth with Bjerg in the mid lane. Pretty low mana for Pobelter, so he's going to have to reconsider heading back to lane right away. Looks like he will also take the long way around, so he's just going to let it recoup, and he'll stay to farm at the turret. 27-19 here on this bot side. There's not too many minions to be cleaned up there for Stixxay, so they're falling behind just a little bit.
Yeah, Tahm Kench against range supports is miserable. He's very, very good into other melee matchups because he can just stop you from coming in, but TSM never actually has to go into them. They can just continue to poke and push.
Gank number 2 possibly here from Wiggily. Looks like the wave will just push in, and Broken Blade will not. 4 bot.
Through wards.
Oh boy. Doesn't look like we'll try to do too much, but the pressure is really all they want here if they're not going to get the kill. No need to push any farther forward. A plate goes over to Biofrost and Kobbe on that bot side.
Yep, respect by Stixxay and Smoothie to just back up. does give Pobelter a little bit of extra time in that mid lane. And yeah, COD's bot lane's in survival mode for sure.
Still keep my eyes on Dardoch, tied for first blood rate with Jizuke at 66.7%. So whenever you see those guys in the Rift, this one Dardoch, always got to make sure they're going to be involved in first blood. Here it may not be, so Wiggily has very high kill participation with the team. He's the one really giving them that first bit of gold. The flash is out.
There's no flashes
He's
to follow.
cruising. Prey Seeker coming up. Dardoch could be able to trade this. Oh, they're going to teleport back in. Broken Blade's going to go into the fight as well to try and get a grasp if they can. Kobbe from the bot lane going to connect 1W. The Q follow through. Arcane Shift damage as well. Damage on the Wiggily. Can you believe it? TSM come up with first blood.
Oh man, you weren't quite sure if they were going to be able to get that one in, and the unexpected AD carry teleport Cobb to pick up first blood. TSM will take it. It's because Ruin and Wiggily didn't have flashes. That 5-minute, 30-second timer, Ruin would have been able to flash to secure the kill if he hadn't burned his flash at level 1.
You're so right.
Oh man, that's a very volatile situation. Plays out in the favor of TSM.
Almost gets a hit there in mid. Wow, for top lane, it's going to be a tough one to find themselves coming back from. It can always switch back the other way, but it does not feel good when that one does not go in your favor for CLG side. They had tried so hard to take down Broken Blade. Doing a great job this year of absorbing everything he can in those ganks, knowing he's pushed up, knowing it might be a Rek'Sai. Broken Blade gets out safe, and he'll be able to walk back to lane. Not miss too many minions. CLG now on to Drake as they keep themselves active. Just a few things isn't going to knock them down.
And remember, this is kind of what we talked about in the pregame. TSM has shown a low amount of care for early Drakes. They use their AD carry teleport top, which left their Senna bot lane, which means they don't care about the Drake. But what they get is this first blood. So watching this gank one more time, Wiggily uses his flash, Ruin has no flash. A really nice E backwards. A lot of Mordekaisers don't know you can actually do that. Pro players obviously do. And then, as Dardoch arrives, Ezreal TP comes in, Dardoch actually doesn't land his EQ flash, which would have been the knockup. Flashes a little bit too early, actually. He needs to flash near the very end of his EQ. It would have given the knockup, but they pick up the first blood nonetheless.
I like the W Arcane Shift confirm as well from Kobbe, instead of trying to tag a Mystic shot that you would lose quite a bit of damage on. So really maximizing the potential of the gank all around. Clean stuff coming in, and we're at 7.5 minutes in. Rift Herald isn't even up yet, as it's coming up shortly. As Infernal Drake we did see grabbed by CLG. Ocean now is going to be next, so we will get Cloud or Mountain to change our Rift. And things kind of quiet down after a lot of the play. Pretty equal mid lane here between Pobelter and Bjergsen. Really wouldn't expect anything different unless there was a bit of jungle presence following them through. Dardoch's feeling great in the jungle. He has to this game.
Yeah, must be a well-played early game. They're not up by that much as of yet. Stealing blue, though, a classic TSM play.
Just always having tabs on where Wiggily is, how they want to move. Bjergsen back to mid. And let's trade, actually. CLG with the push on bot side. They're going to get Kobbe and Biofrost in a defensive position, so this could now get traded over to Pobelter. CLG at least going punch for punch here towards the early part of the game. Now that a kill, I should say, has been delivered. And as I say that, that bottom map pressure is taken advantage of by TSM. They're going to grab Rift Herald, and we'll see where they decide to put this one.
Yeah, can choose between any lane. Ruin wants to zone out a little bit, but
Ruin.
Why?
It just missed the wall.
Yeah.
Actually, interesting. The bubble didn't follow through.
Ruin for a half second thought, ooh, Jarvan, let me go push him out. Wait a minute, I do not have my team here. Just to back away, another blown flash by Ruin.
Everybody's being patient now. We get this tempered gameplay. I like that teleport early. Actually, quite a big play, if you will, from a marksman, as you were saying. But it seems like that's all they really needed to do, and then back to playing it steady, not doing too much that would really deter from having this bot lane be safe from Kobbe and Biofrost, and see what Dardoch can provide around the map. We haven't seen Wiggily come up with much either, so I'm sure he's kind of thinking, which lane do I go to next? I'm scrambling a little bit. How does he get back into this one?
I mean, we saw during Champ Select, like, hey, this is a poke comp from TSM. Rek'Sai's not that great. He's a telegraphed engager. He needs friends to go in with him. So, gonna be a rough one.
Blue buff to blue buff and a few summoner spells in Bjergsen's hand give him the upper hand over Pobelter there. Here's TSM starting to push their power forward as they encroach a few wards and themselves into the jungle of CLG. Is this a mid-turret Rift already? Dardoch sitting off on the side. They're waiting for the minion wave, and they're going to have 3 there. Rift actually gets placed down. Maybe. We're just going to see Broken Blade using his Death Realm.
Loses that fight pretty badly, but does mean the Equalizer cannot be used for wave clear. Doesn't really do much.
Yeah, they hold Rift mid, so just a few plates.
Dardoch has a few more minutes to be able to use Rift and still get plates.
Yeah.
Look out Bjergsen, though.
Quick flash.
Yeah, the thing with this game, though, Riv, is the gold is still actually really close. Ruin does have the CS advantage in the top lane. He's been able to still play relatively aggressive despite having those 2 flashes.
True.
Be burned, and they haven't built up a large CS advantage bottom lane, partially thanks to the teleports. So, COD's not in the same level of trouble as some of the other early games we've seen today have left teams in.
It makes sense. You also have quite a few of those big AoE ultimates and Chain of Corruption Equalizer to be had.
Yeah.
Where TSM's going to want to be kind of dipping and dodging in and out of the fight. So if you can get them cordoned off for a moment, that would be huge. Ooh, good dodge out by Stixxay. That could have been big follow-up damage if not devoured by Smoothie and Guardian block as well. Well played around. Cool stuff to see. Still no kills though. That's what I think. I want to see some fighting. Here we got 3 mid lane. Bjergsen half health onto Wiggily as he finds him exiting towards the bot side of that mid.
Yeah, bringing Rumble and
time.
Viktor to an Ocean Drake fight is advantage CLG.
Yep.
So this would be a point where normally you'd want TSM to be rifting top or something at this time, but Dardoch is actually down by Ocean Drake, thinking about taking something here. Maybe finds a fight.
That's a summoner heal coming out of Smoothie. You love to see summoners coming out if you are the aggressive team right before the objective fight. Still a lot of safety from Smoothie for Stixxay or anybody else on the team. It looks like your positioning is going to be to let this one go. Rumble back towards the top. Ruin does have teleport, but no fight just yet.
Both top laners have TP, so it might be one of those situations where CLG is waiting for TSM to start, and then they'd go in for it. Because you'd think that the Rumble team composition would want to fight in the river early. If they're not vision control, though, they're just going to die to pull.
Nice dodges that out. They're going in a bit. They're fighting on all fronts here as we see the line of scrimmage being pushed up. An interesting spawn in from Dardoch.
Yeah, that Rift is not going to do it.
He tried to ward over the wall, by the way.
Yeah, that might have been it.
That might have been it.
It was close to timing out, too, I believe.
Yeah.
That'll definitely be one of those pro view check-ins later. Because there's a chance this doesn't even get a charge off. Hit the eye. Yep.
Oh, that last minion. It had to just wallop. It stops it dead in its tracks. And
Not one of those converted rifts, that's for sure. Oh, and now they're all recalling out. So CLG, better CS mid, better CS top, same CS bot, and the first Drake. Gotta be okay with the way this team is playing out. They might just be going late game and waiting for Pobelter to power up. Still gonna have those questions about like how do they engage on TSM, but TSM will have the same questions of like, how do we stop CLG from getting Dragon Soul? Because eventually they're gonna have to walk into a River Rumble.
Chaos Storm, River Rumble. God, that's pretty hard to say. Nice job. Stixxay's Chain of Corruption there. And we did get it right. The CLG was thinking the same thing. They looked at Pobelter and they said, what are you feeling, man? He's like, 2015. Viktor, give it to me.
Give me the throwback. Bjergsen remembers.
So he's trying to do what he can, and yeah, he can absolutely get to the point. 20 CS up ahead right now, still upgrading his item, or upgraded his item, I should say. And he's looked like he's feeling pretty good to control some of the fights. 3-2. Clean your plates. Your mother was right. Let's see.
Oh, the Rift Herald drop.
So it's almost down. You're right. I think
he used it.
Okay.
Intentionally.
Not a ward. I stand very corrected. Thank you, ProView.
I gotta say, Bjergsen's game sounds, or Dardoch's game sounds are high in that ProView.
I'm putting Herald down!
Yeah.
Okay, Niner, got it.
Probably should have used a Tahm, in retrospect.
True, it happens. Everything happened so fast, I thought he did it from over the wall, but
Yeah.
it was in the river. He was very right to do so. 15 minutes just hitting on the clock. We should actually get another rift in this game, as we see it right there.
Yeah.
Wiggly's gonna get busy on that one, and it looks like he'll pull it out away from the ward at least. He'll be good on this. It should seem like he has no contest.
So once Viktor gets Banshees, and CLG has the Tahm Kench to eat Zoe bubbles, it's going to be really hard for TSM
Just imagine that.
to find fights. This is... We said at the start, TSM either has 2-0 or 0-2 weeks. It's too early to say, but this is a close game.
Yikes. That statistic comes up and creeps on you a little bit more
Yeah.
as the game goes on here. CLG starts to grab a little ground on the map. Here they'll lose a bit, but just succeeding this one, they do not have to worry about the bot side. As TSM keep it safe. They actually had Bjergsen and Dardoch coming down to see if there would be a fight on that. A great trade towards mid. Pobelter is actually the one helping with the Wiggily on the Rift Herald there, so they're not going to head towards top side, and Broken Blade knows it.
Yeah.
He's going to get himself out. Oh, he stayed.
He's wanting to. Viktor showed mid again, so he's like, it's so hard to dive a level 11 Mordekaiser. He just ults whoever comes in.
I was just
third.
gonna say it.
Like,
Oh.
well, yeah.
Throw equalizer. Nope, he holds it. Blue buff transfer. Bjergsen holds a barrier in hand. Should get a quick clear here on mid lane. See too much movement around the map. Now that both rifts are down, we have no lane swaps happening for either. Cloud has changed our rift already, so we get our fast movement spots around objectives and pits. Or at least Dragon. And what's the next move now? CLG almost has to wait for TSM to have a mistake pick or not be able to get the fight that they want.
Yeah.
Said it's hard to engage here from the side of an Equalizer, Chaos Storm, or just Smoothie or Wiggily going in.
The game is definitely in an odd spot, though, with the mid turret being broken for TSM, because what usually happens, even at like 12 minutes, is the soul laners move to top and bot, and then the dual lane comes mid. But in this situation, like they're coming mid now at 17. I'll get back to that as Ruin is playing with fire.
He's charged up just over half of his heat gauge, so he's going to be doing good damage on the abilities to use.
What? I mean, if you're just going to go for him, they're hoping he pushes up and goes aggressive.
Maybe they want to see Scrap Shield. 1-2, dodges the grab.
The suspense.
A little lackluster. I'm waiting for the CC to follow through, but great job by Ruin. Does have to flash out of that one. TSM gains a bit of a summoner advantage towards top side. Smoothie, great health quite early on that, thinking he could go down. Guardian keeps him safe. And it's hard to get to this lane. Biofrost can just throw out the crowd control. Kobbe can stay safe.
Yeah, I'm still a little, like, I can understand why they're still bottom lane because they don't have the traditional peel support to potentially keep someone alive from a flank. But it does mean that they're kind of losing mid priority and committing too many people to bottom side when compared to what's average. They do have inside track on this Drake, though, but Ruin has TP if CLG wants to just fight it.
Kind of seems like TSM went from the we'll let early Drakes go to it's too late to let Drakes go now. And we don't want to have them on soul point. But even for Cloud, that seems a little interesting.
Wiggly's going to go for a steal.
Going for the fight. Bjergsen with Redemption on the other side. So they do kind of have a bit of a health reset on this. He's going to give it to the team immediately. That's going to be a smite in from Dardoch as he comes in for the fight. Still going down, Broken Blade in the Death Realm with Stixxay. The flash for Flash, he's going to get him with the mace shot, and then it will be a Retribution kill over onto Broken Blade. Dardoch takes quite a bit of damage as flag and drags out. That's going to be a Drowsy over onto Smoothie. He goes down with a Mystic Shot coming in from Kobbe. The fight kind of fizzles out, but Bjergsen is ready to chase with a few more Battle Stars and the flash forward for extra range and damage.
Big steal by Dardoch. That was going to be a potential 23-minute soul point for CLG, but I think it got to about 90 before Dardoch managed to finish that.
It was close for sure.
Still win the fight afterwards too, being able to duel out Stixxay in that Death Realm by Broken Blade. Keeps TSM competitive in this one.
Still pushing after that fight. They have enough to keep going through mid, and we'll see Dardoch just creeping around. Where's that?
Yeah, so first smite comes
85.
in. Wiggily smites too early. And I think the Dardoch re-engage was a little bit of like, I feel like Mordekaiser would come out with more health than this. And he was ready to like jump in with his Bud. But unfortunately for him, his Bud is already dead. Still win the fight though.
And we are back out to live. That was a mid turret.
Hi.
Oh no, Broken Blade immediately hit. Those are the few picks you want to see coming in from Counterlogic Gaming with a composition that should be flourishing in the 5v5 fights. Nicely done there. So now they'll be able to push up on second tier. Pobelter could actually get second tier mid as well if the team stays top. With this pressure, they're creating a bit of a human wall though to make sure they do not get taken out from Bog.
Oh, CLG.
There it is.
In a powerful position here. Hi again.
Dardoch in a bad spot. Biofrost just over the wall, flag and drag is out, so the initiation for CLG gets a little easier. I should say being initiated on is something they aren't afraid of, knowing Dardoch's waiting on cooldowns. And we're seeing a bit of the rotations from CLG. They're bringing a lot of things back from old days.
Ruin waiting in a brush is CLG's new secret weapon. He just sits there as Rumble and waits for someone on TSM to walk there.
Hook him right up.
Yeah, that's how they get the kill on Broken Blade and the chunk on Dardoch. Start checking those with Mystic Shots and Paddle Stars. Oh man, this might be COD's trying to break this losing streak. They have TSM today, Immortals tomorrow. Pobelter as well, highest CS in the game. 1-0-0, that puts him as highest gold earner so far on Viktor at 9,000 gold. And this game's not necessarily ending anytime soon, so he's going to keep powering up.
And at this point for CLG, you kind of have to play without being scared, right?
Yeah.
You do have a bit more to lose, but there's nothing there.
Yeah, there's nothing to lose.
Victories on the horizon, you got to fight for those victories. You can't be timid about going after that and grabbing it. And here we see a lot more forward movement, aggression, and confidence coming out of CLG in each one of the plays. They're behind each other there, and it seems like they're building a bit of that trust that each one of them will believe in each other with.
Look at that, Rumble ulting the wave, top, Pobelter getting solo turret gold bottom. Already have 80 carry support in mid lane to guard against the dive.
Yep. Losing mid at this point would not be terrible. CLG moving around the map could take and suffer a few losses.
Okay.
That is normal.
Not the best, but
2K gold lead for CLG.
Next raid coming up in 1 minute. Cloud Soul not necessarily amazing for CLG, so I can see TSM not being too concerned with actually getting Everdrake. Cloud Soul incredible on Mordekaiser actually, if TSM can start stacking those up, but in a bit of a ping pong state with these lanes right now until the next raid comes.
Speaking of stacking, Biofrost on 68 souls for his Senna currently.
Okay, good check-in.
Always good to track. Edge of Night for him. Keeping safe, a little lethality. And you can see the gold swaying back and forth through the early game, but then a lot of control grabbed by CLG as they were able to find those few fights and a few picks recently for that last jump. 26 seconds left on Cloud. TSM did fight quite a bit from the last one, but they were already there putting the vision down as they had Kobbe and Biofrost bot lane, as they were prepared for that laning phase. Here, everybody's coming out of, or I should say Bjergsen's coming out of base. Might be a little longer to set that vision up.
Smoothie has Stone Plate right now on Kench, so he can actually tank a lot of stuff if we end up seeing a fight. And big time items down onto Rumble. Got full Magic Pen and a completed Leon Juice.
Yikes. That's so much damage. Almost the Rabadons, as you're saying, for Pobelter too. Surplus of items in. Beautiful Devour. True Shot Barrage only hitting Smoothie. Quite a few ultimates. Oh, what an equalizer going over the team at TSM. The red carpet welcomes them to the fight. And a flash out won't be enough. A piercing arrow from Stixxay finds Broken Blade.
The perfect equalizer
That was
by
awesome.
Ruin. They don't even have to use Viktor ult in securing this. What
a turn of events. The vision was placed. They were ready to move forward. Oh, it'll be an awesome fight to see again here too, because this means that CLG gets these fights. They're able to go back, keep buying the items that they need, but the few members can. We see Tahm Kench going back for more wards as well. Great the power.
Your whole poke comp just got devoured. And then the return, kind of incredible that you don't have to flank, you don't have to dive, just pop down that button called the equalizer, and there goes TSM. They can't clump like that in the river against this team. Ruined 3K damage on everyone who was just sitting inside that Senna E.
At this point, I'm like trying to add up all the damage, but no, it's not better than all the damage in the fight, but he is most of it, and that is pretty gross. He has played such a great top lane, flashes down repeatedly from TSM, but able to keep himself alive now. 1-0-1 on this Rumble, and I believe that's the first time he takes it to the top side of the map, so he's been spreading through that Aatrox a lot. They tried to ban him out on the Ornn. He comes out with the Rumble. Nicely flexed by CLG as well to think maybe mid, maybe not, and kind of run TSM for a loop in picks and bans there. We see Baron now, and it looks like it's getting danced around, Jab.
Yeah, it feels like just looking back in this game so far, the Ezreal Senna lane was not as dominant as TSM thought it would be or needed it to be, because when Tahm Kench Varus gets out of that laning phase strongly and they start grouping, TSM's poke starts falling apart a little bit because they don't have the really strong Senna Ezreal or the behind Tahm Kench Varus. And then additionally, like, Bjergsen kept going for early roams, leaving that mid lane, but was unable to convert anything. So Pobelter is just getting higher and higher CS. 300 Viktor CS now, 26 minutes in. Death cap completed. That is a war machine he has.
572 AP for him right now. Bjergsen's sitting at 241, so pretty much doubled.
So
in that aspect.
TSM needs to find some really good picks where Tahm Kench isn't, which is hard to do in this game, because right now TSM also doesn't have anyone who can match 1v1 side lanes. Mordekaiser is actually losing to Ruin so far. Maybe with Nashor's Tooth he'd be able to win one, but unless TSM has a single like 1v1 matchup or 2v2 matchup that can win, they'll just keep seeding this map pressure until CLG take everything on the map.
Well, that's slowly happening with the resources inside of TSM's jungle right now. CLG still moving safely, but leaving themselves up to be picked a few times, getting a bit scary here. TSM ready to fight for sure, and I think they'll pull the trigger any chance they have.
Yeah. And
CLG backs up a bit.
Remember, Riv, this is a 1-9 CLG team. They are prone to mistakes, so TSM need to keep looking for stuff to try and get this done, but so far, you know, only 3 deaths on CLG, and it looks like they're just biding their time until this next Cloud Drake to try and get Cloud Soul.
Bounties on to Pobelter and to Kobbe. Coming over from the LEC is Mr. Consistent. Still can provide that for the team. 2-0-0, 294, keeping himself in the game. Never really the reason you win or lose, but always somebody you can rely on to make sure he's there for the fight, bringing a bit of that power. On the Ezreal, gets a little harder as he's got to thread it to the right targets on this. A lot of what CLG is bringing is fast, swift, and deadly.
I actually think TSM might have been able to sneak Baron there. CLG was not in position. TSM made the move, but then went right back to mid lane pushing. Only a 2,000 gold lead, but this next fight's going to be really, really big. TSM will need a good initiation in order to get something.
Right back to the fight. Kobbe used teleport on that one to gather with the team. Knight popped over, equalizer's in as Wiggily tries to go over the wall. They're going to have Biofrost locked up for a moment, so they get flash resources down off of TSM. Ruin baits a bit of damage in his Pobelter's now by himself, throws down the field to lock down Dardoch. Just over the walls, a bit of damage, and there goes Ruin with the flash for the follow-up.
Pobelter's Chaos Storm did so much damage there. Jungler down for TSM, and instead of taking that Cloud Soul, CLG's moving straight over to the Baron. This will delay the Cloud Soul, but it gives CLG Baron.
Seems like they're okay with that, Jad. It is going to be a pickup for TSM on it.
They don't want to give it up either. Kench just used his semi-global. They're going to push him off with Pobelter.
Oh, no way. He's down there with Pobes.
Bring it on.
Got a Q on, adds the damage over. They're going to get teleported on now. Grey Health's going to be the bait for Smoothie. There's Broken Blade, grabs him in. No! He flashed out of that right into the brush. It is going to be Cloud Drake going over to TSM, but Broken Blade's in the Death Realm now, and it looks like the rest of his team has to leave him. He does get a kill. Big pickup for Broken Blade, but these are trades now, and CLG is going to like that.
Very bold of CLG to try and get both of those objectives. Actually opting to reset now. Need to spend all of that gold they just accrued from that last fight. And this is one where it easily could have gone wrong for CLG. Burning Rumble ult a minute before Cloud Drake, like why? But then they get the root on a Biofrost. TSM kind of sticks around, and it's just Viktor. That was just EQR from Viktor. And then the Chaos Storm, while following Broken Blade, catches onto Bjergsen. It pulses, the damage killed him, and then the continuation flash from Ruin ends up giving him the 2 for 0. Woo.
It's like riding a bike on this Viktor for Pobelter. Absolutely incredible. Highest CS in the game with Kobbe riding his coattails there, just 4 behind. And those two almost on the exact same KDA for the game. Ruin as well stepping up for CLG.
These are the Viktor games, when you have them, that make you think you should play Viktor. Right? Because so many games, you just like wave clear for 20 minutes so you get solo killed because your E hasn't augmented yet, and you're sad because you only ever get to build this pre-described item. But when you can get to like Hex Core upgrade, level 18, Death Cap, Lich Bane, you're like, why don't I just play this champion every game? Because his combo with like Q auto E, once Pobelter finishes as Lich Bane, is like 2,000 damage.
Yeah.
His scaling is absurd.
And you get movement speed, so you can basically do it again and keep following up. Holy moly. Absolutely. Online, you can say, for Pobelter as he comes through, and CLG looking much more comfortable all around the map. It's not just a carry from one person. The team is synergizing, and it's something they've been looking for all split long. 6-4, and still inhibitor turrets and Nexus turrets to go before they take down TSM. A team ready to fight, and a team known for their 5v5 fight prowess as the game goes long. Stopwatches on a few members still looking at Dardoch, but there's not too many. So what you see is what it is at face value here for what is going to happen in the fight. Summoner spells coming up on cooldown as well for TSM here as they stick together to try and clear these waves.
And TSM just, they don't have a good way of engaging. If Dardoch jumps in, he gets immediately melted.
It's
so
quick.
It's kind of like TSM waiting for a CLG mistake at this point. CLG looking to hand TSM another 0-2 week. Maybe not on this Baron power play, only 10 seconds left, but they're trying to break inhibitors.
They have to be careful of how much they push as soon as that Baron power play falls off. TSM may get a little bit more hungry, and they'll see that right about now. Bjergsen on the side. Redemption's still there for him if they want to get a follow-up. Stixxay looks like he could be food for TSM, but CLG will play that safe and only get just about half damage on the inhibitor. Good push on every other lane, though. TSM has a lot of work to do to get out of their base.
Pobelter trying to gobble up as much CS as possible. They're going for him, though.
So not the initial damage coming through. That's going to be an equalizer on stop of Chaos Storm. Stopwatch for Dardoch. That is not a Zanya's, and he goes down immediately. You have to consider the initial damage isn't going to hit Pobelter. Then he has a follow-up shield, and he still has more members in his back pocket. Nothing going right for TSM right now as they're about to lose second tier on the bot side. They're trying to hold strong on this defense.
I can understand the look from Dardoch. They're like, COD's on a reset. This guy's greeting really hard for CS. But this guy, by the way, is a 15,000 gold Viktor. Like, they can't. Like, look at how much money he has, Riv. 15.6K, 5,000 more than Bjergsen, 7,000 more than Dardoch. He's a very, very strong Viktor. He didn't even have to burn his flash. Pops in a Futures Market Death there to go Lich Bane, Blasting Wand, and Sorcery Elixir.
-40, love it.
So, coming up to this Dragon Soul, TSM, there's not many things like you can advise them on at this point, but maybe look out for, like, don't contest. I think you just lose. We'll see, though. They don't have many options.
Ult's up. Dardoch is coming up right now. And those summoners that were down for the last push CLG had are now up for TSM. So a little bit more tricks to be had. A pull onto Stixxay. Oh my god! Pobelter zeroes out Broken Blade. It is Shattered Blade right now. They're going to keep going for the fight. Ruin looking to add the equalizer in. It was actually already done as they push everybody out of this one. And Counterlogic Gaming has an open inhibitor on TSM's base. Pobelter with the giant auto attacks coming through right now, especially with that Lich Bane. And they drop the inhibitor #1 in no time.
He's just two-shotting turrets for him.
He makes Viktor a demolitionist now as they go onto these structures. TSM has 24 seconds onto Broken Blade. Couldn't even get somebody in the Death Realm before he fell into it himself. Wigglily's backing out. They may call the team off as they know 4 members staying there alone will be found out by TSM.
I do actually think CLG was a little overambitious there with the base push. They should just get the Cloud Soul. Maybe if Pobelter flashed forward when everyone on TSM was running, they might have been able to ace him, but can understand why he's willing to just wait and see. Also, like, when you're having Viktor's games like this, sometimes you just want him to keep going. Like, he wanted to do more damage and just keep one-shotting people. So why end? Like, why use your flash?
That almost feels like the fight that CLG was trying to get, right? If TSM go into another one, we take 1 more down, then 3. That is the game, right? TSM's not going to give you another kill after losing 1 in such a scary moment. Knife's edge right now for TSM. CLG is looking for the Nexus.
And just to do the other side of the coin, like,
absolutely.
When you are 36 minutes into the game, as dominant as CLG has been in the past 15 minutes, like, it's still losable. There's been a few games this split where it's looked like a win in the bag for CLG and then it falls apart. Those have been games where, like, their side lanes have been pushed or they've lost a lot of turrets or something. This game doesn't have quite that, but the longer it goes on, like, I think both fan bases are nervous right now. Like, can CLG actually beat TSM? Or the TSM fans are like, are we really going to go 0-2 this week against a double liftless TL and a 1-9 CLG? But that's what League of Legends is all about, man. It's those nerves when you're watching the game. But Pobelter with Cloud Soul and Baron up, they're trying to fight.
Oh, they flash right to the equalizer. Bjergsen's down to half already. Dardoch's into the fight. He has to go with the rest of his team, and he's instantly deleted. Broken Blade standing tall, but he's gonna go down. Smoothie gets the lick that sticks, and they are now onto the inhibitor turret. This could be it as CLG now push into the base of TSM. With 2 members of TSM down, a teleport now comes in, up a refreshed health bar. There goes Biofrost. They're looking for the back line. Smoothie is now in the front with great health. Kobbe firing in what he can, and the Nexus turrets are in the eyes of CLG as they look to take down TSM. Will it be able to happen? The next Nexus turret in their eyes. Kobbe on the right side has a lot of minions to fire through, but I think it's all just too much. Kobbe getting cooked up. CLG's onto the Nexus, and CLG will surge over TSM to take the victory.
And what a game from CLG Pobelter. Going back to the 2015 Summer Finals, Riv, when Pobelter's on CLG, he's now won 4 consecutive games against TSM. And this one comes at such a good time for CLG. Their year has been down, it's been miserable, but the rivalry game happens, and you step up to the challenge. CLG win their 2nd game of the split.
That was the intro, Jat. Whether it's in 10th or whether it's in 1st, CLG and fans always have hope. Oh, the fun camaraderie, Bio, as well as Stixxay, the fist bumps, the shakes. And what a game coming out from Counterlogic Gaming. You were saying back to the 2015 Viktor, that means he still has 2 left in him. Keep it going.
Keep going.
And this guy, Ruin, in the front of your screen right there, this rumble he played, dodging out, absorbing ganks, and coming up with some of the greatest equalizers we've seen this spring split in the LCS.
Yeah, I mean, we spent the latter half of that cast talking about Pobelter because he had so much AP, but the equalizers actually did more damage in the game than the Viktor. So good game by CLG all around. Devastating loss for TSM, but it was fun to watch.
What a win. When we return, Tigris has an interview with the longtime CLG bot laner for more on their victory.
Welcome back, everybody. I am extremely excited to be standing with Stixxay, but I gotta say, I don't think I'm as excited as you have to be after that victory. So first things first, what were your feelings going into that game? Because we tell ourselves that you gotta go for the win every time, but it can get tough.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, usually when we play versus TSM, it's kind of like, oh, we're versus TSM. Like, it's usually we don't end up winning these matches. But just in general, this split, we haven't been winning too much. So it feels good to just, get a win. And especially versus TSM makes it even better.
Well, and speaking of that win against TSM, it felt like you and the rest of the team were capitalizing upon some of the things that they struggled with, prioritizing the Drakes early, really capitalizing upon the mid game. So how much of that was CLG performing for CLG or prepping against TSM?
I think this is just how we normally do, to be honest. I think we've changed our draft priority a bit, and we usually like to have, priority lanes and stuff so that we can take the early Drakes and early Heralds and stuff like that. And this game, it wasn't like perfect. Like we lost Herald, but we got some of the Drakes, so it ended up being okay. But I think it's not like about playing versus TSM or anything. It's just how we usually play.
One thing that looked real good was the Viktor for Pobelter, but I think the story is bigger than just his performance. Clearly coming, it's had maybe a domino effect on the rest of the team. So what are some other changes that you've noticed since he joined?
Well, before he came to CLG, he was like coaching Team Liquid for a bit. So it was pretty helpful when he came into CLG, and he's pretty blunt. He's a pretty straightforward guy. He's kind of just like, you guys are bad at this, you guys are bad at this, you guys are bad at this. So I think we improved a lot, and just also having someone with a very strong opinion about how to play the game is really helpful for the team.
And he shared his opinion before this game on the fact that it's not really about, I'm paraphrasing here, of course, trying to move past this, more moving forward. He said you have to push through it to get the victory. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it can definitely feel pretty hard sometimes, especially when you lose a lot, but I would say pushing through it is a good way to put it.
Well, last thing for you. Everyone out in the audience from CLG was still cheering on. They've been dedicated through this entire time. You're the longest standing member on the CLG roster. So what do you have to say to all of them?
Thank you guys for supporting us. I really appreciate it.
And I'm sure they will continue to do so. But for more on that game, let's send it over to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you, the Tigress. CLG doubling their wins in the split here, moving to 2-10 with a victory over TSM of all teams. Third game.
I can't believe what we just saw.
Yeah, so
where do you put him now with 3
So
games?
that tier list was a reminder of where my two analysts had the 10 mid laners ranked coming into the day. But you cited a poor 2-game sample size as the reason Pobelter was at the bottom. So to Mark's point, 3 games in now. Where does he fall on your list?
Top 5 at this point. Right away. Come on through. Bring it up.
He's definitely a top 10 mid, as he would say.
Yeah, he's definitely a top 10 mid. He did put up a huge performance today, and we'll get a little bit more into that in just a moment. But I do want to talk about CLG and, into a degree, the point that Tigress made, which was while Pobelter himself put up a great performance, it seems that there has been a shift within the rest of the members of the squad with his addition to the team. In particular, I'll point out Ruin as a pop-off performer in this game specifically.
Yeah, Ruin has been receiving constant praise from top laners, and when you look at what he does outside of LCS and solo queue, guy's been ranked top 3 for pretty much the whole year. Plays mostly Rumble, 80% win rate on over 20 games. So I think that he's been just phenomenal, and we saw how many fights are won just from ultimate placement. This isn't even a Jarvan combination. This is just someone saying, I see the opportunity with a Scryers and instantly drops it. This net a dragon and a kill.
Yeah, it was super good. It chunked out a number of members and cut off Broken Blade from being able to path away from them, so he got blown up. The whole team actually played super well. I gotta say, Wiggily as well. I think having some more guidance in the mid lane has helped his pathing and makes him look a lot better. And then even when the Rumble isn't the one popping up, look at that damage from Viktor now that he's able to scale and pick up all his items.
And Viktor is like the champion that Pobelter was playing when he won on CLG before. This is his, I think, his most iconic pick where he's performed the best in the highest pressure of moments. So clearly he's saying, I need to be more mechanically confident so that I can share the knowledge and decisiveness that the team is lacking, which is what Stixxay was saying. He was a coach, so he could tell them, hey, you guys are just bad at these areas.
4-0-3 for Ruin. He started both of those fights with an equalizer alone. Again, I think is important to point out. But now I will return to the Pobelter conversation and actually the little tidbit of information that Stixxay added there, which is the fact that Pobelter had kind of the unique position of being a coach over on Team Liquid, albeit for a short period of time. But it seems like he transitioned back over to CLG with a number of those learnings, or at least with a bit of a coaching mindset to identify some of the problems and immediately start making changes.
Yeah, I'm sure it helps going into a new environment. You saw Team Liquid. Yes, they were struggling too, but you at least saw how they were working, and you can say, hey, I was just at a team. They were doing X, Y, and Z. Let's do some of that too.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge part, as well as, like you said, his default champion picks so far have been Azir and Viktor, two things he's played non-stop over his career. And so this allows him to have a champion pool. He doesn't need to be focusing on that. He can focusing on how to improve CLG as a whole as opposed to his own play.
So let's talk a little bit about how CLG improves as a whole, or continues to, because at 2-10 currently, their best ending record possible would be 8-10. That's not even a guarantee into playoffs, winning out the rest of the split. Obviously, they're going to want to rack up as many wins as they possibly can, but I'm more curious from you, Crumbs, and you, Mark, what it is you'd rather see out of CLG in terms of their play that gives you confidence looking towards summer, let's say, if they aren't able to squeak into that playoff picture.
I think the draft was a really nice change. Stixxay was saying that it has more agency in the early to mid game, and Rumble Varus is exactly that. You shoot out the Varus ultimate into a Rumble equalizer, you're instantly getting an objective or even a kill out of that one. So being able to get a fight without hard committing has been a good way to mitigate the issues that they have had with hard engage. Remember at the start it was Smoothie's Leona always dying.
Yep.
Now he's Tahm Kench, protect the Varus. Let the solo lanes do their thing.
That plays into a little bit of a different conversation, which was before criticizing, in a sense, CLG for their only win being off the back of Soraka. Well, again, in terms of confidence building, ramping up performances from Pobelter in his first 3 games, securing the win here today with other members stepping up in deathless games. I feel like also in signs point to upward movement. But for TSM, the team we haven't talked about.
I was about to say, that's all great, James. There's an elephant in the room. 0-2 TSM losing the tactical Team Liquid. What the heck? And CLG.
All right,
Oh
TSM, it is no joke at this point. It actually has been 0-2, 2-0, 2-0, 0-2, 2-0, 0-2 now again. So 0-2 and 2-0 weeks only for TSM. We have begged for consistency out of all of our LCS teams.
It is consistent.
They're consistent in that. But again, consistency at the top of the table. We want to see teams that can challenge Cloud9.
Yeah, and this is why I have no problem putting FlyQuest at second anymore. Like, they are hands down a much better team than Team TSM is right now, which feels like their weekend 100% depends on how their prep was over the course of that week.
Yeah, you know, there's a good chance that TSM is just overthinking too much about what they should be playing. I mean, you don't just come up with a Kale Maokai composition and instantly go to this.
Yeah.
Right, you put a lot of time into that, and you put it against the stronger opponent in Team Liquid, so maybe you put less practice on CLG, bites you right in the ass, and now you're 0-2.
Tough loss for TSM, but feels good for CLG. After the break, we dive into Game 4, Evil Geniuses versus Golden Guardians. See you here after this.
Kobbe from the bot lane, gonna connect 1W, the Q follow through, arcane shift damage as well. Damage on the Wiggily, can you believe it? Quite a few ultimates. Oh, what an equalizer going over the team of TSM. The red carpet welcomes them to the fight.
Senna no flash.
I think we can go slowly, go slowly.
I'm watching you. Jarvan slow. Jarvan dead.
I killed Zoe.
Yo, guys, look at the Jarvan. He's dead. Man.
We won! We did it!
Not yet.
We won! We won!
So Josh, you going for our Drive Safe and Save discount?
Yep, using the app, driving safe. You wanna go, bro? Do not mess with my discount.
Get a discount up to 30% with Drive Safe and Save.
When you're chasing greatness, just remember, it's not about what you say, it's about what you do.